Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
What I'm talking about. All of our guests today, including Ross Tucker, standing by, brought to you by the Bayside Oceanfront Resort, located oceanside in beautiful Parksville. The Bayside Resort is one of Vancouver Island's premier getaway spots. Call now to book your reservation. And mention Donnie and Dolly for 10% off your nightly room rate. Also, be sure to grab a Donnie and Dolly hat or T-shirt now on sale at the Bayside. Book your island getaway at BaysideOceanfrontResort.com or call 250-248-8333 as we're joined now, as we are every Tuesday, by Ross Tucker from the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, Westwood One, and CBS Sports. How are you, sir? Have you got out and voted today?
Donnie, good to talk with you. Actually, you're joined by me every Monday, typically. I do like the brick background. I threw you off this week because I am in a hotel room in Akron, Ohio. Because I'm calling a little Maction tonight, Eastern Michigan at Akron on CBS Sports Network. So I did whatever it's called, like an absentee ballot or a mail-in ballot a couple weeks ago. So yes, I did do that. By the way, isn't Bayside like a nice place? That's a nice resort, right?
Very beautiful. Of course, it's associated with our
show. So they're selling your merch.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't that like, if I've been there a number of times. I love it. It's my favorite place on Vancouver Island. But now, like, if I walk in and I see they're selling Donnie and Dolly merch, it's like, what are we pigging up the place? What are we doing here?
There's a Ross Tucker limited edition lanyard that they're also selling there. So I might want to stop right there, Ross. It's selling like hotcakes.
I love it. Dude, you guys are big time. I hope I would get more than the 10% if I came in wearing a Donnie and Dolly too.
Oh, yeah. 25, max, 25.
Hey, I'm just happy he's on the Took bandwagon. He finally gets it. Hey, Ross, Chase Claypool's from around these parts. What went into that deal, Chase Claypool going from Pittsburgh to Chicago?
Let me ask you about that real quick. This is what I do. I just start to ask you guys questions.
Yes, I know that.
You ask me a question.
And correct us.
But like, what's high school football like out there? I mean, Chase, is it a big deal? Chase Claypool must have just totally dominated. I mean, I would love to know what Chase Claypool was like as a high school football player out there.
He did dominate out in Abbotsford. He did dominate, no question about it. But high school football here, nowhere near as big as it is in the United States of America.
Right. So anyway, he's a monster. But, for whatever reason, I don't know what it is, guys. It felt like he was sort of always in Mike Tomlin's doghouse. And I don't know if it's personality or a work ethic thing or performance or production. I don't know. But there were rumors for years that the last couple of years, the Steelers were willing to move this guy. There was something about him that they didn't like. They didn't want him long term. It's why they drafted George Pickens out of Georgia in the second round. They were happy to move on from him. Which is interesting because if you look at the track record of receivers that the Steelers move on from, Mike Wallace did like nothing after he left there. Yeah. Plexico Burress had a couple years before he literally shot himself in the butt. Santonio Holmes didn't do a ton after he left. Antonio Brown left the reservation after he left there. So it does make you wonder a little bit about Claypool, the fact that the Steelers are willing to move on from him, or maybe they just felt like he's redundant since they have Pickens, and to be able to get, in their opinion, a high second-round pick was worth it.
Juju Smith-Schuster with the Kansas City Chiefs has done okay. Mind you, he's got a pretty good quarterback.
Good point. Really good point. Really good point.
Okay. So that makes up from my earlier Monday-Tuesday gaffe.
The reality is nobody cares. I didn't need to call you out on that. It's just there's such a high percentage of me calling out Rick that I felt like I had to. What? By the way, is it new, or have I not noticed like the brick and everything behind you?
Yeah.
Is that a kicker? Is that a kicker behind you?
A kicker. Yes, Louis Pasaglia.
Yeah, Louis.
Local legend. Simon Fraser University. I believe he's the all-time leading scorer in pro football history.
Not CFL and NFL.
Write this down, Ross.
Louis Pasaglia. Google it.
You know what I'm writing down right now? Don't go on shows where the highlight showcase player is a kicker.
Oh, stop it. Stop it.
Okay.
He's a legend.
How can you guys put those two together? You love ice hockey, which is tough guys checking, hitting them into the boards, and then your show looks like it's sponsored now by Louis whatever face.
Yeah. Watch it. Louis Pasaglia. And one of the reasons he's a local legend, Ross, is because he was a college quarterback who did really well as a quarterback at SFU. And he took the odd snap back in the day, and he also played receiver. There was a lot to Louis. So, tread carefully. You tread carefully. Otherwise, we're getting rid of those lanyards.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I bet you this. I bet you he gets more than a 10% discount at the Bayside.
And he doesn't even have to mention us. Can you believe that? Hey, was that Aaron Rodgers? They lose to the Lions. Packers lose to the Lions. I'm not sure if it was you, it was somebody. It might have been Aaron himself. Was that his worst game ever as a pro?
Oh, it was me at Ross Tucker NFL on Twitter. It's the worst game I've ever seen him play. The Lions defense had been horrific for a long time. He goes out and throws 3 picks all in the red zone, in the end zone. He never does that. That's maybe one of his best things, is that he never does that. I don't know that I've ever seen such a precipitous decline right now. The guy was the MVP back-to-back years, and he's not a top 10 quarterback in the NFL this year. That's hard to do, right? It's hard to be the MVP of the whole league back-to-back years, and now you're not even a top 10 player. And a top 10 quarterback, and he can blame anybody else he wants. I think he knows those are him. Those were just bad throws, bad decisions. That was all on him. Aaron Rodgers is the reason why the Green Bay Packers lost that game.
Hey, Ross, the Colts fire their coach, but they hire a guy that's got zero coaching experience at the collegiate or professional level. Your thoughts?
Well, if you're going to hire a former offensive lineman who's ruggedly handsome with a beard with no experience whatsoever, why would they not have hired me?
That's it. That's it.
Can you imagine, by the way, like my press conferences? Coach Tucker, who's going to be your starting quarterback? Well, the starting quarterback's presented by the Ross Tucker Football Podcast.
Oh, yeah.
No, listen, I love Jeff Saturday. I love offensive linemen getting opportunities. I actually love outside-the-box ideas, outside-the-box hires. But this is ridiculous. During the season, this is not like hockey or the NBA or even baseball. There's a lot of complex terminology.
Yeah.
There's a lot of scheme. There's huge coaching staffs. There's a gigantic roster. I don't think they're putting him in a position to succeed. You could maybe have convinced me of this in January when he has months and months to get a coaching staff together and build for the next season. But to drop him in the middle of the season, I don't understand it. My guess is it will be a disaster. From Jeff Saturday's perspective, though, it's like, hey, if he does well, then he gets the full-time job. Everybody will be shocked. If he does okay, he'll probably get other opportunities because everybody will still be surprised. And if he does terrible, that's what everybody's expecting, so he can just go back to his regular life, and now he got a whole lot more bigger QR rating.
Ross, our team down the highway, the Seahawks, they keep winning. They have 4 straight. Here's the stat that blows me away, because you lose Russell Wilson, you shouldn't be the second highest scoring team in the league. They are. In fact, the Chiefs only have 2 more points than them. But just when you look at the Seahawks team, what amazes you the most?
Geno Smith.
Yeah.
I'll say 2 things. Geno Smith and the rookies.
Yeah.
They're starting rookies at both offensive tackles, at corner, at running back, and they're all really good. Like the 2 rookies at tackle, that is unheard of. And a lot of times, rookie offensive linemen struggle. Those guys are both playing really well. And then the Geno Smith thing, I personally love. We've probably talked about this. I love when a guy gets a chance to start his first game. Because number one, it's like cool. I remember when I started my first game against the Colts. Like nobody can ever take that away from you, right? Like you started an NFL game and you get a chance. You get a chance to show what you can do at that level. For Geno now, what I think is really cool, he's getting a second chance. Yeah. And a lot of times that doesn't happen. A lot of times you don't get that second chance. He's making the most of it, and he's changing the entire narrative around his career. He's changing his life.
Yeah.
He's a top 5 MVP candidate.
Mm-hmm.
I am really, really happy for him.
What do you like about the Jets who upset the Bills? 6-3 now.
Their defense and young guys. Yeah, I mean, they've got some really good young guys. Breece Hall, the running back's out for the year now, but Garrett Wilson, their wide receiver, is excellent on defense. Quinnen Williams and their corner, Sauce Gardner, have been really, really good. Zach Wilson actually played better against the Bills than he did against the Patriots. There's a lot to like about the Jets right now. They've got a lot of pieces in place. You know, the real question there will be, how good does Zach Wilson get? Does he get good enough for them to be really good, or is he not the guy?
Next week, is it Monday or Tuesday? Help me out.
It'll be Monday, and I'll be calling a game that night. The Commanders at the Eagles. So that'll be tonight is my 3rd game in 6 days. That'll be my 6th game in 10 days. So I'm, it's not work though. Like, people are like, oh, you work really hard. No, I don't. I go to football games and talk about it. Like, what do you talking?
Love it.
I know a lot of people that I'm from Reading, Pennsylvania. I know a lot of people that work really hard. Yeah. I'm not working. I get paid to be on with you goofballs. I get paid to be. By the way, I'm wearing my underwear right now. I'm in a hotel room in Akron, Ohio. Okay, talking with one goofball and one guy that doesn't know his days of the week.
Hey,
in Vancouver,
listen,
and they pay me for this. Like,
hey,
unbelievable!
What a scam I'm running,
Ross.
Right now.
Boxers or briefs?
Boxer briefs. Boxer briefs. How do you not know that, Rick?
I'm asking you. Are you a boxer guy or a brief?
Okay, boxers I can't possibly do because my legs are so big.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and briefs. I mean, come on, I'm not 62 years old, Rick. I don't know how old you are, but I'm not wearing. You only wear briefs if you're over 60.
There's
or
a lot
you're
of guys.
A
lot of guys wear briefs.
So I wear boxer briefs. They kind of look like bike shorts.
Okay.
I can't show them to you. You have to pay for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's a family show, Ross. It's a family show.
Photos available at the Bayside for $10. Thanks, Ross. Next week.
See you, dudes.
Monday or Tuesday. It is every Monday.